Okay, if you're starting this and you're like, standard form, what's standard form? I have a video over the first page, or if you were in class, that's where we got that information, that extra information about standard form. Standard form for functions, quadratic functions, is the same as standard form for quadratic equations, just instead of equals 0 in an equation, for these functions we're graphing, it equals y. But we can still label A, B, and C, and we would do that to get the vertex, because it's hidden away from us, unlike in vertex form. And all we have to do is remember this formula, negative b over 2a. And if we figure that out, that's going to be the x value of our vertex. Then we do have to plug that back in so that we can get the y value. So negative 2, because this is b, over 2 times 1 is negative 2 over 2, which is negative 1. So the x value of our vertex is negative 1. Now I need to go in and put that into my equation and figure out what that makes the corresponding y value. And this is where we have to remember order of operations. I square the negative 1, which gives me positive 1. And then I have 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, and then minus 1. If we picked the right x value for the vertex, this should happen, that this one and this one are opposites and cancel each other out. So that it ends up being, or at least I think so. I guess we'll find out over the next 3. So this y value is negative 2. So our vertex is negative 1, negative 2. And then we can look at A, and if A is something other than 1, we've got either a reflection or a stretch or a shrink. This one does not have any of those. We shifted left 1 and down 2, and then we have the normal parabola pattern of out 1, up 1, and then out 2, up 4. If you are having trouble with that, this would be the time where you'd get out a piece of paper, because there's not enough room on here, and you just make a table of values instead. And honestly, my hope is that as you're doing the table of values, you either get really good at doing the table of values and fall in love with it, or you're like, oh, this is a lot of work. Maybe I should try just memorizing the pattern. I'm happy either way. If you're happy, I'm happy. And if you're unhappy, I'm probably also unhappy, but it's math and that's something that happens. Okay, B. Now this is negative 1. Otherwise, this is really similar, actually just in general, this is really similar to A. So I'm going to do negative B, so negative 2 over 2A, so 2 times negative 1. That makes it negative 2 over negative 2, which is a positive 1. And I plug that in to find the y value. Now this is the tricky thing about exponents and negatives. When you square a negative 1, you get positive 1. But this is asking us to square 1 and then make it negative. And the reason it's asking that is because of what we plugged in. We're plugging in 1. We're supposed to square 1. But then we take into account what's in front of it, which was a negative. So this is negative 1 plus 2 plus 1. Okay, so far our pattern is holding that those cancel each other out. So this is 1, 2 for our vertex, 1, 2. And then I look at this and say, okay, it's a negative, so that means it's going to open down. And on this day's lesson, that's, I think, as tough as I made it, is that some open down and some open up. 2, 3. 2, 3. So just so you're aware. And I did not ask you to write the transformations. You can, I guess, if you want to. I used transformations, but in the form of finding the vertex and reflecting, but you don't have to write down specifically what they are. C, negative B, negative 4 over 2 times 1. Negative 4 is plus 4, and 4 over 2 is 2. So we're going to do 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 2. Four minus 8 plus 2. So this didn't happen the way I thought it was going to. So interesting. That probably means I was wrong in remembering something that is not true. That's awkward. Okay, so I don't think that's something we can rely on, unless it turns out that I've done this completely wrong, which is technically a possibility. I'm going to put my vertex at 2, negative 2. X squared just has a normal 1 in front, so it's going to go out 1, up 1, and out 2, up 4. So like a so. So that's graphing from standard form.